Okay, welcome back. I yesterday recorded everything that I'm going to show, but before I had recorded it, I tore down my workstation in order to move my desk and clean out from behind it, hooked everything back up, and then worked through the rest of my workday as normal, and loaded up OBS to try to record. Recorded for about an hour, and I had some pretty good progress here in Maya. And then I went back to watch the recording, and it was an hour of a black screen. So I'm just going to quickly go over what I ended up doing. So I added Maya here to the launch section. This is the launch.py that I made originally. It's currently on the launcher, the only button that is actually hooked up. So if I click this, it'll start Maya. I'll close this here. And there it goes. So that's basically I just take the current environment, copy it, and then for Python path, which is where Maya looks for Python files, I added the original Maya site packages first. Shaboken has some very bad issues if you don't do that first. Then I added the pipeline project path and then the user setup, because it specifically checks for a user setup. Maya specifically checks for a user setup file at the end of any of the paths in Python path. So I'm specifically doing this user setup here. And then in this, I just had it launch. We do lowest priority, so after Maya is loaded, we'll just do this print and then load the shelf. And then most of yesterday I had recorded me making the shelf manager in the very first shelf, only for that to have not been recorded. So I'll just briefly go over this. This is a very, very, very standard way that people do shelves that I've seen. You just kind of have a class that it has some functions to add buttons. You can add like menus and stuff, which I think I've got here, but I don't have an add menu item. So I'll have to add that. I guess I just forgot that when I was working on it. Adding a separator, and then in the init, get like a icon path. So I added a few of these kind of button icons, which they're really just all the same but colored a little bit differently. So we're just appending that path so that way then I can call them out by name. And then we just add some buttons. So here's our primary shelf, and this adds. Right now I just have like a static mesh browser, skeleton mesh browser, and an asset browser. I think this is supposed to be publisher. Whoops. All right, well, where's that? And this shows up then here. Yeah, that shouldn't say that. We'll just restart this real quick. And these are going to be, I don't know. I might condense these into one. I might not. I'm not 100% sure. Where's our launcher? And then, yeah, we just call that here. After Maya is loaded, we'll just run the shelf. The only weird things when I was working on it were we clean the old shelf, which is just a loop to go through and remove any buttons that are on it and then rebuild it. That way then you always have the most updated shelf, except that the last button for some reason gets misaligned. So then I just added this stupid function, which just adds one more button and deletes it. I don't exactly know why that is, and I could probably just edit the button itself or figure out like what's going wrong, but I'm lazy, and we can figure that out later. Yeah, so this is pretty simple. I don't really have a Maya stub or anything set up in PyCharm, so there's some weird issues with syntax highlighting, but those don't super concern me for the moment. So yeah, here it is, and then our new button was made. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I just didn't really get to record the time lapse. So, yeah.